You missed, yeah, this is our third one. Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Hi, Arina. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good, Shaima. We still have 1 minute and let's wait for others to join.
Okay.
We have a lot of participants today. Yes, okay, let's start. It's sharp. I like to start on time, yeah? Well, good evening, everyone. I hope and I trust you had an amazing holiday season. And we are back with our webinar number 3 of the series about functional nutrition. This is very new topic for me to be introducing, and I've done, I think, great job the last 2 times. And so for all of you who don't know me, my name is Irina Khanna, and I'm working with somebody needs to mute. But can you please mute yourself? Yeah, thank you so much. I've been working with Illuminations from 2012 as a therapist, as a clinical hypnotherapist, as well as family constellation facilitator. And it's been almost 20 years that I've been seeing clients who have challenges in their mental health, such as, for example, anxiety or panic attacks, depression, mood swings, etc., etc. And quite a few years ago, I saw a very obvious link between, for example, IBS, which is an irritable bowel syndrome or disease, dysbiosis, and panic attacks. And it's not that I'm the one who noticed this. It's very known fact in medical field. And I would get these clients referred by the doctors to me. And I just got very interested that how food can affect your mood, or how can food, is there any food groups that we need to completely omit to help person with anxiety and panic attack, for example, or with depression, or is there anything else that they can introduce to in their diet that is going to bring some relief? And I've done a lot of research. Of course, I've joined many of the trainings, but recently last year, I came upon with iThrive Academy, which is from India. And I've joined them for this certified functional nutrition training. And I'm very, very happy that I've done that, because it gave me that missing link, actually. Finally, what I've been experimenting, I have to be honest with my clients, because I've been telling them, like, can we omit this food? Like, can you do and notice how it is affecting your anxiety, for example? And I've been doing this, so I've seen a lot of changes. But finally, I have research material that group of professionals have been working, and they've brought together this really amazing course, which we are introducing now at Illuminations. And today, I have a special guest, very, very special guest on this platform, and she's going to be taking us through this journey of, how gut and brain connection is there in our body. And it's very interesting presentation. She's one of my most favorite instructors in iThrive, not only because she teaches human microbiome, which I'm so interested in, but even otherwise. Now, Manali has been, so she has got the bachelor's in biochemistry. She has done her master's in nutrition and dietetics with specialization in nutrigenomics. And what nutrigenomics is, if any one of you wants to know, you can probably put this question on this chat box, and I'm sure after the presentation, she's going to answer all our questions. And she has been a very, very important part in iThrive community. She's a head of research and development in iThrive. She's an excellent health coach, and her passion is to find the, solutions and root cause, first of all, for most challenging, like chronic diseases. And I'm very happy, Manali, to welcome you on this platform. And you can take over. I'm sure you can share your presentation here.
Yes, yes, Irina. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction.
I'm going to mute myself.
Sure, sure. Just give me a heads up if you can all hear me well, then I can begin with the presentation. Yes, you can hear me well?
Yep.
Okay, yes,
Okay.
thank you. Sure. Yeah, I'll start the presentation. Okay. Yes, so as Irina said, we'll be taking all the questions towards the end, but as in when we are discussing everything. So if you do come across anything, please feel free to put it in the chat box at that time itself. Okay, so although Irina has already introduced me, it's been more than a year that I've been working at iThrive, and my journey has only grew. So yes, there is iThrive Academy, there are various roles that I play. But yes, this is also one of my favorite roles where I get to teach human microbiome. And in today's webinar, you all are just going to get a gist of it and how it is so helpful to determine health and how we can apply that knowledge. So I think it is new, it is like an upcoming area. We are getting to know that health like the gut is the most primal organ which we need to focus our energy into, and how it communicates to various organs, one being brain, which we are going to focus in this webinar. So are you all set? Are you all excited for the webinar? Yes, if you all can switch on your cameras, I'd like to see you all. So at least from your expressions, I would get to understand if you're able to understand or no. Okay, yes. Lovely to see all the smiling faces. Okay, so let's begin. So the topic for today is a pretty interesting yet long one. So food for thought. We are going to understand how functional nutrition and gut-brain health bridges the gap in mental and behavioral sciences. Okay, so there are many new terms in this title, I think, for you all. Also, beginning your career as a functional nutritionist, because I'm going to take you through the research area, through a case study, through a functional nutrition perspective. So you are going to understand what exactly functional nutrition is and how you can learn it through this course, and you can understand and you can help people heal. You yourself can do it. Okay. Yes. Okay. So to begin with, as Irina has already introduced me. Okay, so what would be our today's learning agenda? Okay, so what we are going to discuss this evening is what is functional nutrition, because I think for most of you it is also new. You might have heard about the term nutrition, but what is functional nutrition? We are going to have a look at that. Then we'll understand what is human microbiome or what is gut microbiome. I think most of you already know, or some of you have an idea about what microbiome is, but let's brush it up once. Then we are going to understand what is the gut-brain connection. Okay. As the name suggests, yes, they both are related, but how are they related and how they communicate with each other to reflect on each other's health. Then we are going to understand how to heal the gut to heal your brain. So if we come across any mood disorders, if any mental health conditions or brain related conditions, how healing the gut could be a way to heal your brain. Okay, so I'll take you through a case study. Sure, I will. I will share the presentation. Yes, so understanding the stool test. So when we look at the gut health, okay, stool test is an important parameter which gives us an insight on how exactly our internal health is. Yeah, so we are going to understand that, and we also look at tools to heal the gut. Okay, so yes, someone wants to say. Okay. Yes. So first, let's start with what is functional nutrition. So I'd like you all to speak if you have any idea, if you do know what functional nutrition is, or what are your guesses. Let's keep the session a bit interactive. Yes, you can unmute yourself and you can answer.
Hi, this is Sonia.
Hello, hi Sonia.
In my opinion, based on the two words together, it is how food and also supplementation can impact our health, I suppose.
Right. Okay. Okay. So that's your idea of functional nutrition.
Yeah.
So it's right. Okay. Okay. So it's quite close. So it is also what nutrition does, but how functional nutrition is different from the conventional nutrition or just the idea of helping people heal through food and nutrition or supplements. It is that we find out the root causes. As Irina also mentioned, so to like we identify the root causes, like let's say we are addressing any health condition, may it be anxiety, depression, may it be weight gain, weight loss. Instead of giving a standard prototype diet, we focus on finding out the root cause, addressing it, and as a result, as a byproduct, that health dysfunction gets resolved. Okay, so why functional? Because we are focusing if the organ is functioning well. Okay, so it's not just absence of disease, but it is also functioning of all the organs. So all the organs that we test through blood test. So there is one module to introduce you with is interpreting blood tests, which take you through infection, inflammation, your liver, kidney, thyroid, everything. So we understand how, like, if all those organs are functioning well or no. Okay, so there is function, there is then start to loss of function, there is dysfunction, and then there is disease. Okay, so we want to detect diseases early on, so we can start with early intervention to prevent diseases, or if the disease has already taken place, we aim at reversing them. Okay, so here's an illustration to give you an example of it. So although the person is symptomatic, the person is not quite like feeling quite well, but still the lab reports are saying that you are great, like everything is well in your body, you don't need any treatment because the labs are saying everything is normal. But clearly the patient is not feeling so. Right. So here the above one, this table talks about, I've obtained it from a lab report. Okay, so HbA1c, I think you might already know, glycosylated hemoglobin. So this is a reliable marker when we talk about insulin resistance or diabetes. Okay, so the result was 5.8 for this client and the reference range. Okay, so this is 4 to 5.6. Okay, which is why it is highlighted. It is bold because it is abnormal. Okay, and the method of this testing is also highlighted. But okay, let's say because here it is out of the normal range, so it is indicated as abnormal. But this table talks about the functional nutrition range. Okay, so these are quite sensitive and hence we call it as optimal because they look at function, not just the absence of disease. So the conventional nutrition uses reference ranges and functional nutrition uses optimal ranges. Okay, so these are different from the conventional ranges and you can see these are quite sensitive. Okay, so this helps us to identify early markers of insulin resistance. So we can start with the nutrition therapy, we can start with supplements that help promote insulin sensitivity. Okay, I hope you all are getting the gist of functional nutrition. I understand it's new for you all, but I assume that it's interesting. Yes? Okay, great. Yes, moving on. So if you would like to read more about it, okay, if you're confused about these terms, optimal ranges, reference ranges, so we have written a blog on it. Okay, it's like a long form blog. You can go ahead. I've embedded it in this presentation. So you can just go ahead and read about it, or you can search this on Google or at the iThrive website. Okay. Then we look into what is human microbiome. Okay, so now I want you all to answer that what is human microbiome. So yes, Sonia, I am making note of your question. Let's take all the questions towards the end. Okay, I'll definitely answer them. Yes, so I would like you all to answer like what is human microbiome. Yes,
Hello,
please go
I'm
ahead.
Fariha.
Yes. Hello.
Human microbiome is the bacteria present inside our body, and all these bacteria have their roles inside our body, like the good ones, basically.
Okay.
and they take care of a lot of processes inside our body.
Right, absolutely. Okay, so your answer is partly right. So it's not always bacteria. There are viruses, there are fungi, there are protozoa, and sometimes there are also the bad guys, not always the good and beneficial ones. There are other microorganisms also. And as you said, yes, there are many roles that they play to help our health, not just the gut health, but the overall system's health. Okay, so for them, we are the host because they are residing in our body. Okay, and when we talk about human microbiome, it's not just the gut. Okay, any microorganisms present inside or on our systems. Okay, it may be oral, so the microorganisms present in the oral cavity. It may be on the skin, it may be in the gut, it may be in the urogenital tract. So wherever our body is exposed to outside microorganisms, certainly at those places there are microorganisms present. Okay, and these are the microorganisms, also called as microbes, are these are microbiota, and microbiome is different. So microbiome is actually the genes of these microorganisms, because the information, the genetic information, like what role do they play, is encoded in their genes. Okay, so that is the microbiome. So we are going to learn more about it in the human microbiome module. I'm just introducing you to the basic terms here. Okay, so yes, we are focusing on the gut microbiome, that is the microbes and their genes present in the gut. Okay, so have you heard about this axis, gut-brain axis? I think it's the most famous connection, right? Yes, so Maria is saying yes. Okay, so let's look at how is brain health related to the gut health. So has it ever happened with you that you are not feeling quite well by your mood? Okay, you're feeling gloomy, you're feeling sad, or there's a recent stressful situation in your life, let's say a heartbreak or something quite stressful. So have you ever observed that such an event plays a role or causes some digestive upset or stomach upset or digestive issues? Have you experienced this? Yes, so absolutely. So this is a proof, this is an evidence that the gut and brain are communicating. Okay, so something going wrong, or if the brain is upset, if the neurotransmitters are not functioning well, it gets translated to the gut. Likewise, if the gut health, okay, in this module, we understand how the normal gut lining looks like. There are many layers through which the food gets converted to nutrient, and those nutrients are absorbed, and only the right nutrients, electrolytes, and water needs to be absorbed, and not the toxins or any bad bacteria. Right? If that communication, if that filtering is going well, then the gut health is intact. But if it is not going well, if it is disturbed, then the toxins can also leach in and enter the blood circulation. So if that is that, which means the gut health is not quite right, and it can translate to something going wrong with the brain or mental health. Okay, so if there is inflammation, do you all know what inflammation is? Any idea? Yes. Yes, Sonia, would you like to answer? Okay, Faria is saying it's the body's immune response. Yes.
Yes, exactly. So whenever there is maybe a food to which our body is overreacting, then there is an immune response, the antibodies, they get released and they attack the body. So they can attack any part of the body and then creates inflammation.
Okay, great. So what you all are saying, the reaction of body against a bacteria or immune reaction. So here you are mentioning whenever there is a microbe or a pathogen. Okay, pathogen is a disease causing microbe. So let's say it may be a bacterial in nature or viral in nature. If there is any antigen or a foreign particle coming and attacking our body through any way, okay, it may be from food, it may be from skin, or it may be from nose. Body's response to anything foreign Yes, so that is infection. Okay, you all are mentioning the infection part. Okay, so if there is something problematic entering our system and our body's immune response is acting against it, then it is an immune reaction. It is infection. Okay, and infection will subside when the body is done fighting those problem disease causing pathogens. Okay. Okay, so yes, Neelam, I read your message. So that is infection, which is temporary. But what happens otherwise is, let's say if we have a wound on our skin, okay, externally, then someone mentioned that yes, swelling is there is redness, there is inflammation, so there is cytokine response. Cytokines are chemicals that respond to that cut or that wound, right? Likewise, it also happens internally. So here, when we talk about the gut health, we are obviously referring to stomach, small intestine, large intestine, the gut. Okay, so internally, if our body is being inflamed, then we refer to as inflammation. So there are some foods. Okay, in this module and through this whole course, we are going to focus on inflammation and the foods that cause inflammation. Okay. So food is like instruction to our body. So whatever we eat, may it be healthy, may it be bad for you, may it be allergic for you, every food has information stored in it. Okay, so inflammatory foods indicate our body that the body needs to create inflammation. Okay, let's say you're having wheat. Okay, wheat which has gluten protein. If you are having dairy which has the casein protein, okay, or if you're having vegetable oils or seed oils. Now, oil is something, especially in the Indian meals to prepare a sabzi, it is used on a daily basis. Okay, so you're exposing your body with oils on a daily basis. So every day through food, you're instructing your body to get inflamed. Okay, if your body is undergoing regular, like daily inflammation, it does not get time to recover and heal. Okay, it's like fighting all the, like every day it's getting swollen up internally. We don't realize it externally, and unnecessarily it's fighting off. Okay, it can be obviously be evident in the blood test. So there are separate inflammatory markers which you'll also understand. So that is inflammation. Okay, so when such inflammation happens in the gut, okay, that inflammation gets communicated to the brain, because there is enteric nervous system. Enteric meaning anything related with the gut, okay, anything related with the stomach. So there is a separate nervous system, there is separate set of nerves present in the gut. Okay, how we know that there are nerves, there are neurons in the brain or the spinal region. Okay, so the central nervous system, and there is separate set of nerves even in the gut. So all these nerves are connected, they are communicating with each other. So if you have an inflammation in the gut, that inflammation gets translated to inflammation in the brain, which is called neuroinflammation. Okay, so here we are going in the opposite direction, which is why this connection is bidirectional. Okay, anything going wrong with the brain, with your mood, gets reflected to your gut. And if there is any inflammation in the gut, it gets communicated to the brain, and the brain also starts getting inflamed. Okay, so this is gut-brain connection. And there are many studies highlighting this connection, proving, or there is evidence to this gut-brain connection. And there are many studies which emphasize on a particular brain or mental health condition. Okay, so I have cited one paper here. So just let me know if you can see this paper. I've switched the tab. You can?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, so this is a gut-brain axis. This paper talks about gut-brain axis and how the microbiome, that is the genes of the microbiota, influence anxiety and depression. Okay, so if you want, I can send you the link of this paper. You can go ahead and read it. So it is like in this paper, they have highlighted how stress and microbiota are related, how gut-brain axis has an impact on behavior. Okay, I'll just take you through this small diagram. Okay, so here this left side arrow talks about inflammation. Okay, this is low inflammatory status, and sequentially the inflammation increases. So this is when the inflammation is the highest. Okay. And experimental manipulation. So this was observed that increased anxiety-like behaviors were highest when there was high inflammation. Okay. And when there was low inflammation, the anxiety traits were also low. So it is like directly proportional to the inflammation present in the gut. Okay, so like it's like a vast topic to be covered in a webinar. You can go ahead and read more about it, or you can join the course and you can understand more about it. So there are many aspects, there are many branches wherein we can go. And it's not just brain, it is the gut also communicates with the immune system. It also communicates with the skin, bone, heart. So there are many connections, and new connections are now like every day they are being discovered, and like researchers are identifying how gut communicates with different organs and how they reflect the health. So anything going wrong with the gut health is translated to that organ, the next organ health depletion. And there are some bidirectional connections also. So even the gut and heart connection is bidirectional. So anything going wrong with the heart, if there is deposition of fat tissues in the heart, it also gets reflected to the gut health. Okay, sure. I'll send it to you towards the end of the webinar. Okay, once I stop sharing, I will. Yes. Okay. So let's move to the case study that I am going to present to you. Okay. So can gut be the way to manage brain and mental dysfunction? So I think when we first come across this term gut-brain axis, I think it can be hard to believe. But there are, as I said, many research papers. There have been many solved case studies which are a living proof that yes, it can be done. It is manageable. How do you identify exactly what causes inflammation? So I'll come to your question. So there are blood parameters to it, which can, like, we can easily spot inflammation. Okay. Yes, so this is a case of Mr. DTS. So I have kept the name of the client confidential, but it is a case that we dealt with. So I'll give you a brief. So the primary concern of this client was not just mental health condition, but he had many other goals. So to start with, he had low weight, and it is often observed that people who have low weight, they suffer, like they struggle gaining weight. So there is resistance from the body coming, and there is inability to gain muscle mass. So he wanted to gain weight in healthy terms, that is in the muscle mass form. He also suffered from anxiety and depression. Okay, so this is where the mental health part comes into the picture. Then there are primary health goals. Okay, so his primary health goal was obviously gaining weight and stress reduction. So always whenever a client comes to us, there is something that they definitely have to work on. And then there are some secondary goals which they would be happy if they all, like, if those goals also get met. Then coming to the secondary health goals, improve blood pressure, because he was suffering from high blood pressure, hypertension. He was also taking medicines for those, and he felt quite low on energy. So that was also one of his goals, to improve energy levels. Okay, so coming to the symptoms. So primary symptoms is what the client reports. Okay, so anxiety and depression was there. There were some digestive issues. There was stress. Okay, so which is why it was a goal that he wants to reduce stress and he wants to improve his condition of anxiety and depression. And there was weakness and lethargy. So there was low energy, low motivation throughout the day. So key findings. So as I showed you how optimal ranges are different. So for each parameter which goes up or low, okay, if it is increased or decreased than the optimal range, there are root causes for it, which may be related to some other health. Let's say if it is insulin resistance, we correlate it with the lipid profile also. Okay, so like the entire health panel, health report goes through thorough checking to find out what is the exact root cause for that parameter. At the end, we get a list of root causes and we rule out whatever doesn't suit to that client. Let's say for some parameters, alcohol intake is one cause, but if that person doesn't consume alcohol, then that gets ruled out. Okay, so The key findings mentioned here are the ones which were found or which were obtained from the root cause analysis. So pancreatic insufficiency due to digestive issues. So his pancreatic role, okay, so the enzymes produced by the pancreas, especially insulin, wasn't in that great value, in that great number, and which would possibly because of his digestive issues. Then there were micronutrient deficiency. So we test for various micronutrients, let's say vitamin D, magnesium, selenium, vitamin B. So we get an idea that even though that person is eating, but the nutrient requirement is not being met. Then, yes, so he had weak immune system because we saw that the infection panel was haywire. And as I already mentioned, he was suffering from high blood pressure, which is hypertension. So, yes. Okay. So are you clear with the case history? Let's try to solve this case. Yes, so I understand you all are sending in your questions. I'll take it towards the end. Okay, so what iThrive does, the healing program is for 3 months. So I'll take you through like each month by month how the progress was seen. Okay, so to give you more on the client history. So Mr. DTS is a DJ by profession, and he's a restaurant owner. Okay, so he mostly ate food from his own restaurant, which was high in inflammatory foods and deficient in nutrients. So although his satiety, okay, the feeling of fullness is being met, but the nutrient requirement is not met. And once we understand what inflammation is, what inflammatory food is, we realize that we are every day exposed to inflammatory foods, even though we think it is normal, it is home cooked food, or our ancestors had it. But now, because of the environmental conditions, because of our lifestyle, our body is not able to tolerate the same foods. Okay, medicine, he was taking medicine for high blood pressure, and he was also taking a few supplements. So I've missed E in the spelling. So he was taking over-the-counter supplements, which are, again, like we are not sure if the formulation, if the nutrient composition is that right. And OTC supplements also have additives in them. So we don't know if the nutrient is actually sourced from a food or just the chemical structure of that nutrient has been replicated. Okay, so this was the case history. So this is 0-1 indicates whatever we have observed after the first month of that program. Okay, so there was improved quality of food, because here we we educate the client. So we are not just making the choices for the client, we are educating the client to make sure like what food choices and why we are making those changes. Okay, so the quality of food increased, the nutrient density increased, so the quantity, even if it's remaining same or if it is becoming high in protein to aid muscle gain, it is rich in nutrients now. Then elimination of inflammatory foods from the daily diet. So as I mentioned, inflammation is just blocking the healing. So we want to avoid that. Okay, and there were other healing modalities which were introduced, which was designing a supplement list. So looking at the blood test, looking at the analysis report, we give supplement list, we plan a supplement list of those supplements which are actually necessary for that person. Not everything, it's not a standard supplement list. It is designed on looking at that person's bio-individual needs. Then lifestyle modification. So in lifestyle modifications, again, so making small changes like adding yellow light to white light at night time. For at least 1 or 2 hours before sleeping, we need to turn off the artificial lights. EMF exposure. So there are many lifestyle modifications, and you are going to learn all about these in detail in this 4 months course. Okay, so in the second month, the basic food patterns. So by the first month, we get an idea what are inflammatory foods, how they need to be replaced. So the client himself was satisfied and understood the concept, and he was able to correct those food choices. So that was done. because of the light changes that I mentioned. So he observed improvement in circadian rhythm. That is, he slept regularly. And again, sleep is also related to the gut health. So you would observe, you would learn that later. Okay, then he also started regular meditation and breathwork practices. So these are a few more healing modalities that we add on to nutrition, exercise, hydration, and stress management is another aspect to it. Okay, so improvements, digestion improved dramatically. So because all the inflammatory foods went out, the digestion was now healed. Then started gaining muscle mass. So all the bad foods, all the fat mass, unnecessary healthy weight which was there, the composition in his body went out, and he started to gain healthy muscle mass. Then he also observed improved energy levels because now the micronutrient requires were being met. And the client, by the end of 2 months, he completely got off his BP medications, so the blood pressure medications. Now this is not a call which we as nutritionists take, but if the body is now able to tolerate all the nutrients, all the food, and the body is now able to manage well, the loss of function is now absent, the doctor can then take a call that you no longer need to depend on the medicine, and then he got weaned off from the medicines. He also observed improved food and fewer episodes of anxiety and depression. So yes, this was our big goal, which was achieved because the gut health, the dietary pattern, the physical aspect of the mental health part got better. Then moving on to the 3rd month. So he consumed food that was optimal for his body. So because we had identified the nutrient requirement, the supplement requirement for his body, now the body was getting all that and in the right quantities, whatever it needed, and it was meeting his bio-individual needs. So we all have different tendencies, we all have different genetic makeup, the environment that we are exposed to, our lifestyle is all different, we are unique in each of cases, so which needs bio-individual care. So that helps a lot. And so he felt like he was at the prime of his life. He never felt this good before because everything got corrected, and unknowingly earlier he had like unhealthy dietary patterns which all got corrected. So now he had 0 symptoms, and his immune system was also better, because once we do the blood test towards the start of the program, we also do it towards the end to see how internal health has improved, because symptoms wise externally we can observe, we can make out, the client can report, but internally blood test is the better marker and the most reliable marker, which gives us an idea how each panel has improved. So to give a physical evidence to this, he also recovered from a respiratory infection within a day, which was an evidence that the immune system is now functioning better. Towards the end, we also give a detoxification protocol, which is again carefully designed, because towards the beginning, we are ensuring the person is getting all the right nutrients, so the body is well supported. And towards the end, we introduce the detoxification because we do not want the body to collapse. The body needs to have all the right nutrients to sustain that detoxification protocol. So whatever toxins, everyday harsh chemicals or pollutants that you are exposed to, or medicines, that gets detoxified and it adds on to your healing. Okay, so at the end of the program, he felt like he was reborn. So this is his amazing healing journey. So yes, now where does gut health come into this picture, right? So what we do is whenever a person has gut issues, okay, or mental health issues or autoimmune conditions or allergies, okay, so there are some parameters through which we check that if the person requires a stool test. Okay, so we go for a stool test. As the name suggests, a stool sample is collected. It is sent to the lab where the lab quantifies. Okay, so what does it test? Bacteria, viruses, yeast or candida overgrowth, parasites. So these are all the microorganisms. And zonulin is a protein. This is a marker for leaky gut. So if you know about the leaky gut syndrome, whenever a person has leaky gut syndrome, the zonulin protein is secreted in excess. So we can detect from that test that yes, that person might be suffering from leaky gut syndrome. Okay. So the stool test is not just identifies the microorganisms, but it also quantifies. So how there were optimal ranges for our blood parameters, there are also optimal ranges for these microorganisms. So the healthy, good, beneficial bacteria, as I think someone mentioned. So yes, there is a reference range. Okay, so that doesn't need to go high and that shouldn't also be low. Okay, we need everything in the right optimum quantity. Okay, so I'll show you how a stool test looks like. Okay, so this is normal bacteria flora. So there are sections. Okay, it may be normal bacteria flora, it may be pathogens, it may be viruses, fungal. Okay, so these are different species and these are the results. So these are the patient values. Okay, what we can see is Akkermansia muciniphylla. So this is high. Okay, so you can see this is the range, and E4 here means that is the exponential power. Okay, so 6.37 into 10 raised to 4. So this is higher. This is out of this range, which is high, indicated in red. And bacteroidetes and firmicutes, these are the two main subclassifications of bacteria present in our gut, and both are low. Okay, they are low from this range and hence indicated in yellow. So because these are normal bacteria, we need it to be in the healthy range. And we don't also want it to be high, because when it goes high, it can start creating problem and it can give rise to dysfunction. Okay, so that it's I've just added a snip of the stool test. It's a long test, and through this module we understand how to read this, how to interpret this. Okay. So yes, then we are not just understanding how to interpret or what exactly the gut condition the client is suffering from. We also pay attention to the tools to heal the gut. Okay, so these tools can be foods, they can be some herbs and supplements. Now again, there are like a wide variety of gut alterations, wide variety of gut dysfunctions. And accordingly, the foods, herbs, and supplement would vary. So I can't give you just a name of a few, because depending on the case, it is different. To give you an example, how probiotics, we know probiotics is beneficial for gut health, but there is one condition called SIBO. Okay, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So as the name suggests, there is bacterial overgrowth. So there is large amount of same strain of bacteria, and probiotics is something which increases the amount of the bacteria in the gut. So it would be counterproductive if given for SIBO. So we need to be sure like which conditions or diagnosis should be right, and then accordingly we make the plan of action. So which foods and which supplements or which herbs need to be given. Okay, so yes, so to take you through the healing story of this person, this client, Mr. DTS, as I mentioned, he restored his energy levels, fixed his micronutrient deficiencies. Because we are comparing the blood test before and after 3 months, we have the optimal range, right? So we can see visibly that earlier the nutrient levels were low and now they've come in the range, which means the nutrient deficiencies have been fixed. Okay. He also observed reduced stress, reduced episodes of anxiety and depression because of the right supplementation, and everything was, personalized. It was to meet his bio-individual needs. He exhibited improved CBC markers, that is the complete blood cell markers, which means the WBCs, which means the red blood cell count, platelets, MCV, MCH, everything to do with the blood. Okay, then he also regulated his blood pressure. As I told you, he stopped his medicines. He also reversed pancreatic insufficiency, because basically what happens, every other organ needs the right nutrients and needs to stop the abuse, may it be coming from EMF or toxins. If we take care of these two things, the organ can start working. That is why we say reversal of dysfunction, because the organ is getting what it needs and is not exposed or abused by any toxin, so that organ can function well. And so the pancreas were able to synthesize the normal levels of insulin. So liver dysfunction and oxidative stress was also reversed. So there are again separate panels which talk about liver health. There there are separate markers which are indicative of oxidative stress. So all those levels were reversed and corrected. Then this person was less prone to infections because of the immune system now got better, right? And loss of unhealthy fat mass. So although the person looked quite okay, but it was fat mass. So fat is essential, I'm not saying no, but it was unhealthy deposition of fat, and the person then gained muscle mass. Okay, so this was his healing story. Yes, so yes, that is end of my presentation. Thank you all for being so attentive. And yes, I can now take your questions. You're most welcome, Shaima. Thank you for listening so well. Yes, so now I'll take up the questions. Just let me scroll up. Yes, so are the optimal ranges always tighter than the reference ranges? So yes, mostly this is the case because, yes, I'll give you the reason for it. Okay, so the reference ranges, they are obtained, if you see, mostly reference ranges are made from hospital reports or clinical pathological lab reports, right? So the data that they have, the population that they look at are diseased people, because people only test when they have some condition, right? So that is not a fair idea to compare to, because if we look around, most of the people have some or the other health condition. So that is not a fair idea. So what is better is looking at the healthier population. Okay, so I think the estimated number is 5%, which are like free from any disease, absolutely healthy. So identifying those values and those ranges, hence the ranges are tighter, they are strict, and they're more sensitive, because that is our aim, right? We want to be healthy. We don't want to be falling in the range of the people who already have disease, or we are not aiming just for the loss of disease. We want to increase the function of the organ. So which is why, yes, the optimal ranges are more sensitive. And yes, so as I mentioned, there is a dedicated module to understand these optimal ranges, the root causes to it, and how to interpret, how to correlate it with other health parameters. So it's not just pancreas we're looking at. We're looking at lipid metabolism. When we talk about hemoglobin, we are comparing it with the iron levels also. So everything is related to each other. Okay, because we humans, it's like a system. It's not any single organ at isolation. It is all moving in synchrony, right? So it is reflected on other organs' health also. And then yes, your answer to inflammation. So I want to know, what do you mean inflammation in stomach? Yes, so there are imaging techniques. I think someone messaged me in the direct message also that their son had undergone endoscopy. So yes, that is also an imaging technique which indicates if there is inflammation. So the IBD, okay, inflammatory bowel disease is what is a condition when there is inflammation in the gut, in the large intestine. And there are blood tests. So there are a couple of parameters which indicate if there is inflammation in the blood in the entire body system. So we can compare that before and after 3 months, and we significantly see improvement in inflammation. Okay, so yes, I will share the PDF. I will share the presentation also. Just give me a minute. Yes. So how do you identify exactly what causes the inflammation? So there are many possible root causes. Like I said, it could be through diet. There could be inflammatory foods. There could be toxins. It could be oxidative stress. It may be smoking, pollutants, or there are toxins present in the personal care products. Okay, so the products we use for our beauty care, for our health, hair care, or even at our homes. Okay, so these have toxins which could be irritant to our bodies, and yes, it could lead to inflammation. So you just have to rule out. You have to go through each. You have to make the healthier switches And at the end, I think you would be able to find out if there is inflammation in the first place and where it is coming from. Yes, Rico, CRP is one of the inflammatory markers. You're right. How to treat SIBO. So May is asking how to treat SIBO. So SIBO, as I said, is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. It is quite complex alteration. So this is one of the things that we are going to cover in this module. So understanding what SIBO is, how to diagnose it, okay, what are the signs and symptoms, and what are the foods to help treat SIBO. So I think to understand that, you need to join the course. Then Neelam is asking what to do when a person has inflammation in stomach. The doctor doesn't talk about the diet because the doctors are not taught about nutrition. So that is not their expertise. That is where the functional nutritionist comes into the picture. You are only prescribed gastric medicines after an hour before food. Okay, so as I said, diagnosis is the primal thing in this. Okay, so get your blood test done. You can get the GI map, that is the stool test, done. So it gives us a better and exact picture of your gut and what is actually happening. Okay, so once you understand what are the inflammatory foods, so as I named a few, there is wheat, there is casein coming from the dairy, right? Gluten is there. Then there are seeds and vegetable oils. So you can make those healthier shifts. Okay, elimination of inflammatory foods, introducing other healthier alternatives. So it is not a restrictive diet. We are only removing the bad guys out. So we're replacing them with healthier alternatives, which helps healing, which promotes healing. Okay, so that would be the first step. And obviously diagnosis would be the first step. Then the elimination. And if there is inflammation, if there is identified inflammation, if we are able to understand which exact condition it is, which exact gut condition it is, we then can address it accordingly, because there is a set of foods, herbs, and supplements targeted to each dysfunction of gut. I think so. Diagnosis is the most important part here. This program is okay with a pregnant woman. So, hi May, what are you referring to? So, like, if you're talking about the 3 months program, yes, a pregnant woman can do this. But obviously, considering her needs, the entire program would be altered, like the blood test, supplements which are safe for pregnancy, and what exactly needs to be done will change, and it will be done taking into consideration her health. Otherwise, stool test is not a problem for her. So when is the good time to have probiotics every day? So again, if you are so sure that you don't have SIBO, that is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, only then take probiotics. Otherwise, for all the other gut alterations, probiotic is safe and beneficial. So it's the night time before having your food. It's the best time to take probiotics. Okay, and then there are, you need to ensure that the probiotics has multi-strain. Okay, we need multiple strains in the probiotics for its increased effectivity. Can cholesterol be reversed? So Aisha is saying, can cholesterol be reversed? So yes, Aisha. So high cholesterol, again, it depends on your range. So cholesterol is actually good. It is normally present in our body, normally produced, and it has a lot of functions to our health. Okay, so cholesterol is not bad. We need it. But if it is going above range, again, not referring to the reference range, but the optimal ranges, then yes, I think if you take the inflammatory foods out of the equation, your cholesterol thing would get sorted. Okay, then what was the lifestyle changes you made? Okay, so lifestyle changes, if we refer to the most recent one that I'll be honest with you, is I'm not using our mobile phones the first thing in the morning. Okay, it is not related to the nutrition per se, but it is adding more mental clarity for me. Because we all know that social media, or once we start our internet connection, everything, like heaps of data or information pours into our system. And when we are sleeping, we are like sound, there is absence of thoughts. And as soon as we switch on our mobiles, we can see there is a lot of information coming in. So that is one thing I've done. I'm free, like I don't have gluten. Okay, because I have this gluten allergy. So in some people, we see that there is, evident signs of gluten intolerance. But at some other people would say that I'm fine eating gluten. There's nothing wrong that is happening to me. But internally, it is penetrating your small intestinal lines. Okay, so although we don't realize, it is creating inflammation on the internal side. And inflammation is the root cause for many health conditions. Obesity would be the first thing. There would be insulin resistance. And there are many other health conditions to which inflammation is the root cause. Okay, so I think that is one thing that you can shift. Okay, then dairy is one thing that I've also done. Yes, so you mentioned EMF. I'm not sure what it is. So EMF is electromagnetic fields emitted from all the electronic devices. Okay, so again, in this course, we have a separate dedicated module on EMF, which tells us what exactly EMF is, what impact it has on our health, and how to modify, how to make small changes to limit our exposure to EMF. Okay, so when we talk about wireless devices, let's say earphones or internet connections, Wi-Fi, so these emit radiations which has a deleterious effect on our health. So although it is an inevitable part of today's world, we can try to minimize the exposure as much as we can, especially when we sleep at night, because we are not using it at that time. We can at least switch off the Wi-Fi, and like small changes that we can do, as I'm using like wired earphones. So these are small changes that you can do. Yes, you're most welcome, Fatima. I will sure send the PPT and the research paper. There are many more research papers. I just showed you one. What is the difference between probiotics and prebiotics? Okay, so probiotics are living microorganisms, okay, because at times when we take antibiotics or when there is infection, whatever our balance is between the good and the bad bacteria, it goes disturbed. Okay, we lose out on the healthy guys, which is why we need to reintroduce it from the external source, which is why we take probiotics, and prebiotics is the food for probiotics. So these are fibers, insoluble, soluble fibers, which are like food for these microorganisms. Okay, so these are the prebiotics. And when we focus on the tools to understand the gut health, there are many things: probiotics, prebiotics, FODMAPs, which we understand in this module. Yes, Nirupama, you're most welcome. I'm happy to help you. If a person has inflammation in the stomach, should be chicken, eggs be removed from the diet completely? No, Neelam, I would not suggest so, because again, it is conditional. So if you can make sure that the chicken that you are eating is free range, okay, so that chicken was not fed any antibiotics, any drugs or anything to increase its produce, then it is safe. You can go ahead and have it. No need to refrain it from the diet. Yes, you're most welcome, Aisha. I'm glad you liked it. Should we only consume fruits and vegetables? Please explain about leaky guts. Okay, so not necessarily. We do not recommend to only have fruits and vegetables. We need a good source of animal protein too. And what happens, because fruits and vegetables are high in fiber, high in insoluble soluble fiber, if it is taken in large quantities, okay, although fiber is good for gut health, if you overdo it, what happens? It has many anti-nutrients. So it will inhibit the absorption of nutrients from the other foods that you're having. So it binds to the minerals, and those minerals are not ready to absorb. So even though you think you're having those foods, you're getting the nutrients, but the body is not able to absorb it. Okay, so yes, we don't advise to overdo on fruits and vegetables. And please explain about leaky gut. So leaky gut, in one sentence, if I tell you, the gut lining is made up of tight junctions. If the junctions become loose, the permeability, as I said, the nutrients, electrolytes, water enter the blood circulation, that permeability increases. There is no selectivity. Okay, so through which any toxins, any harmful particle can also get into the blood. So which is a unhealthy condition. And there is a lot more in this module on leaky gut. Okay, it's a big term to understand. Do you need to have prerequisite to study this course? How many modules? No prerequisites as such. And there are 12 modules. I think Irina can guide you all better on that. Apart from wheat and dairy, what else are inflammatory foods? Again, you would need to understand the whole module, whole course, because see, if I am telling you the inflammatory foods, but without just eliminating that from your diet, you also need to understand why we are advising so, right? So I think the course would be a better idea to understand and rationalize and justify the food choices that we are advising and not just blindly follow it. Yes, Irina, I think it's time. You can tell me when to stop.
Hi, Manali. Thank you so much
Hi.
for this amazing presentation. Yes, Manali, it's
you,
time, and now it's up to you. I mean, there are a few more questions you want to.
Okay.
Or
Yes, I can take them. No problem.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. There is an increased interest in psychobiotics among scientists these days. Can you comment on psychobiotics considering the gut-brain axis, and how can we dietitians propagate this during nutritional counseling? So Aruj, I would like to know more about psychobiotics. I haven't heard about it actually. So could you please send it in? Also, I have a question. Fatima asks, please explain about zonulin and leaky gut and its causes and management. Again, it's a wide topic, Fatima. So zonulin is a protein marker, as I said. So how I showed you normal bacteria in the gut map, right? How the report looks like. So there is an add-on test for zonulin. Okay, again, there is a separate dedicated optimal range for zonulin. If you think the zonulin is beyond that range, which is an indicator of leaky gut syndrome, because zonulin gets excreted more when there is a leaky gut. Okay, so it is an indicator of leaky gut. So it is good for the diagnosis part. Okay, so causes for it could be stress, it could be sleep, it could be micronutrient deficiencies, because these are the factors that keep leaky gut, the tight junctions of the gut intact. Okay, so there, like, we cover this in quite detail in this module. So if you are interested about leaky gut, then please go ahead with the module. I'll take you through everything in detail. As a patient, what is the time frame and approx cost for the treatment to work? Okay, so the time frame for the healing program, we estimate it to be 3 months, but as all bodies are different, some people start showing improvements quite early. It also depends on their effort, how diligent they are in making the interventions. And some people do need 4 months, 5 months. Some people extend the program, they add on another 3 months, because it depends on the age also, like how well you're responding to the interventions, right? So we cannot exactly tell the time frame and approx cost. I think there should be like more discussion on this, or you can contact the team, and we can guide you better on this. Then please, can you advise blood test which shows we have inflammation? Okay, so there is C-reactive protein. Okay, high sensitive C-reactive protein is one thing. And then there is ESR, okay, erythrocyte sedimentation rate. So these are the two tests that we go ahead with inflammation. But again, there are more markers, lipid parameter, insulin parameters, which give us an idea how much of inflammation it actually is there. Do we need to restrict fiber in foods, fiber-rich foods in SIBO? So yes, in SIBO, we do restrict the carbohydrate intake and sugar intake in general, because there is a lot of fermentation, there is a lot of bacteria already there. So we don't want to increase that. So yes, we do restrict carbohydrate in that case. How does this treatment work with conventional medical treatments? Is it complementary? Can both work together? Yes, so it can both work together, and because we are supporting the organs, right? So let's say we have our gut health, we are taking medicines for it, and we are taking natural healing modalities for it. Now, because we are enabling the organs to function well on its own, So the dependency of those organs on the medicine decreases, and as a result, we no longer need to take the medicines. Okay. So yes, our final aim would be reducing the medicine load. And please, can you repeat about probiotics? We should take it at night. Yes, before dinner. Which strength is good? I think you also have a separate module on it, supplements. So we have another person who is chief of supplements. I think he would be better able to guide you, like which strength, which all probiotics to look for, which strains to look for. Okay, so he has the expertise in that. Nirupama is asking, hi, can the cholesterol plaque deposition in the cardiac walls be reversed? Yes, if you take care of the inflammatory foods, yes, because there are mechanisms of our body to heal. Okay, how there is deposition being happening, there is also a system to clear those depositions. So yes, it can be done. It is totally doable. But again, we need to look at the extent of the severity of that disease and the age and how well the person is responding. So yes, otherwise it is doable. Is lactose intolerance can be cured? So again, there is difference in allergies, sensitivities, and intolerances. Intolerance is something your digestive system is not able to tolerate that food, right? So many allergies or many intolerances are a result of the leaky gut. If we make sure that the junctions are tight, which is reversible, like we can do that. So then the same protein or lactose, it won't reach the blood circulation, right? So which is otherwise a food particle, but because the junctions were loose, they were able to reach the blood circulation, which is why it was creating trouble. But if you are able to reverse the leaky gut, yes, the sensitivity can be altered. Okay, one last doubt. What are the foods that can cause depression and anxiety so we can avoid? Okay, so I think foods which are again high in inflammation. So it is not one food per se. I think alcohol is one thing because it totally disrupts the gut microbiota, the levels of the healthy and bad guys. But see, depression and anxiety mostly roots out of micronutrient deficiencies. Okay, some nutrients which are not getting in the right amounts. And slow deposition, let's say alcohol or some food which is troubling you, and if you're having it over time, only then it creates a problem. Let's say inflammatory foods.
And
okay,
can
so
I add here, Manali?
Yes, sure.
With my clients, I have seen the sugar and caffeine intake with anxiety and gluten.
Right. I totally missed that. Sugar is, yes.
With depression. If you eliminate gluten, within a week, you will already notice a shift.
Right. So we don't realize otherwise, like we don't see any physiological symptoms, but internally it's playing with our bodies. Okay, so my son gets ulcer in his mouth more often, in fact every month. Is this because of inflammation in the stomach? Okay, so inflammation can be one root cause, and ulcers are also a root cause, also occur as a result of stress. So I've observed in cases where everything, like physiologically, everything is well, diet, lifestyle, everything is well, but just by stress, okay, ulcers can be caused. So check out for everything. You can take out the inflammatory foods and make sure that you're replacing it with healthier alternatives. If you're taking gluten out, make sure you add millets to the diet. Okay, we don't want to restrict the diet, especially I'm assuming your son is young. So we don't want to introduce any unnecessary micronutrient deficiencies. Yes. Thank you, Neelam. I'm not a doctor yet, but yes, I aspire to be one. Yes. Thank you so much for attending. Regarding autism, yes, so autism is also, we have helped clients. I think the two of our clients were they were young, they were children, and yes, repairing, it is not obviously completely reversible, but if you manage the gut health, if you make changes to the gut health, if you improve that, the irritation or the behavior changes are quite evident. They are quite significant, and yes, brings down the burden of autism for the child and for their parents. So yes, it can be done. Yes, thank you so much, Aruj Azka. I would go ahead and read more about psychobiotics. I'll just send the link of the PDF here.
One final question from my side. This is Shabir.
Yes. Yes.
Actually, along with this functional nutrition course, and can we club with the CBT technique to avoid this anxiety and depression, mood disorders and all? Is Illuminations providing any CBT therapy or
Yes,
courses?
of course. Yes, we
Okay.
provide CBT, we provide hypnotherapy and many other modalities, mindfulness, meditation. Yes, we do have.
Yeah,
all the
excellent,
training.
excellent. And about this course, this is, I know this is just an information, information provided from this, session, 1 hour session. So as mentioned in the session, there will be a 3 months course or something like that. So
4 months course.
4 months course. So when we can get the schedule and more detail about this course and all?
You will receive email from us. You will
Okay,
receive
excellent.
email from us by tomorrow about all the details about the course, how many modules are there. It's on-site and online as well. So out of 12 modules, 4 will happen on-site at Illuminations in Dubai, and 8 modules will be online.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay.
So we
Just
will-
to add on one more point, Manali, before we wind
Yes.
up,
Yes.
when we were discussing more on the gluten and all these things. Actually, as part of my, health conscious, I was trying to avoid the rice intake instead of, I was, trying this experiment last month. I reduced the rice intake. Instead, I was, be Indians. We move to the next choice is chapati or something like that. But after going, moving from rice to chapati, in fact, it gave me a very bad experience.
Yes.
Yeah, I got even more lethargic or fatigue issue when I moved suddenly from the rice intake to the gluten like chapati, the chapati and all have more gluten, I understand. So
Yes.
so would you suggest we need to balance with the rice and chapati parallelly or something? You have any other recommendation?
Yes, so I would advise like completely going off gluten, so no rotis at all. You can go ahead with rice. You can add millets. Okay, so you can add jowar, which is sorghum. You can add bajra. There are many more millets. You can add those to your diet, but not chapati.
Okay, excellent. This bulgur rice, this is especially we used to get it from Turkey and all.
Okay.
It's a kind of millets, right? Bulgur. I don't know. Irina may be knowing, which we normally see in the Arabic Turkish restaurants. It's a rice. It's a wheat grain kind of things.
Yeah, it's not rice. It has gluten.
Yes, it is
Because
made from.
basically it's a wheat. It's broken wheat. So
So
what
yes, it does have gluten.
Yeah, quinoa doesn't have gluten, buckwheat doesn't have gluten, but you might be still intolerant to those as well. You have to check.
Yes.
So is it a good replacement for rice? This bulgur rice, wheat, grain wheat.
No, Shabir, because it will have gluten. It will still create the same issue. So it's not a wise
Manali, I
alternative.
think we went overboard right now. We need to,
Yes.
But for us right now,
Yeah,
both me and Manali are in India. It's quite late here, guys. So thank you so much
Thank you.
Yes.
for coming. We still have another seminar coming up. So you will receive emails from us probably by tomorrow about the course. And after that, if you have any questions, any doubts, please call Illuminations and book a free consult with me, like 10-15 minute Zoom call. And we will take you through that. Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
All right. Good night. Thank you, Manali. Thank you. Bye.
Yes, thank you, Irina, for this opportunity. Thank you all for attending. Yes, we would like to see you at the course.
Bye.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.